And Focus Now, Congresswoman Cammack, Republican of the great state of Florida, member of the Energy and Commerce and Agricultural Committees, joining me now. Good to see you. So I just want to get your top line thoughts, actually, on what's playing out here.
Well, good to see you too, Harris. And Iran, well, quite frankly, they export terror the way that other countries export goods. The issue that we are facing is this is not an isolated conflict, what we are doing in Iran. We know that through their proxy networks, Iran is continuing to plot, to coordinate, and really drive this terrorist network in as many corners of the world as they possibly can. That is why this blockade and our subsequent efforts to really undermine the regime in Iran is so important. Let us not forget that they are the #1 state sponsor of terror globally. And so if we can, without putting boots on the ground, take out this regime and really unleash the global economy, which, as we know, the oil that goes through the Strait of Hormuz, that's about 1/5 of the entire market. That is going to be key. But as long as they are able, they are going to continue to instill fear around the United States, around Europe, and quite frankly, around the globe.
Look, I want to ask you, because you have a high number of Jewish Americans in your state of Florida, just as we do here in New Jersey and New York. How concerned are you that these killers, that these Iran-backed militia groups that want to do us harm during a war here at home will find support from others here? We've seen the anti-Semitic just fly off the charts in terms of both action, attitude, protesting, all of it. Very dangerous situation.
Absolutely. And again, this is chaos, but it is deliberate chaos. When you look at the tie between Venezuela and Iran, what Iran was doing was it was sending some of its biggest, baddest players to Venezuela. Venezuela was then giving them passports and official documents. They were then being smuggled into the United States through an open southwest border under the Biden administration. And we know that they have set up terror cells here in the United States. Thankfully, we now have an FBI that has got their number and is systematically looking to dismantle these terror cells. But we need our international partners to come to the table. Canada, for one, we know in Ottawa there are numbers of cells that have been established there, and of course across Europe. This is why we continue to say that our allies need to come to the table when it comes to Iran. China, while we just completed a very successful summit there, they thrive off of this chaos. They see a global crisis as a business opportunity, and they thrive off of Venezuelan oil and Iranian sanctioned oil. So this is really where we need our deal maker in chief at full force. And I think President Trump is continuing to do that. But we really, really need to be mindful of the threat that it poses here at home. I represent the largest Jewish student body in the country in Gainesville, Florida. This is a real issue. This is something that cannot stand. We need to take a very firm stance against anti-Semitism, and it cannot be tolerated in any neighborhood or community.
I caught what you said, and I know you're not military, but your husband, I believe, is in law enforcement. But I caught what you said. It sounded a lot like Lieutenant Colonel Darren Gobb just moments ago. Finish this just without boots on the ground, without troops actually engaged in concert on the ground. It is interesting. I'm hearing it from more and more people now. From different areas. All right, let's move forward to this. Democrats are outraged as redistricting fights erupt across the southern part of this country. The latest state is South Carolina. Republicans are ramping up efforts to unseat Congressman Jim Clyburn after 30 years in office. Democrats' rhetoric is getting pretty heated.
Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock said it was a, quote, 21st century version of Jim Crow in new clothes. Do you agree?
Absolutely, I agree.
Young man who was testifying against redistricting out in the South. And he said something very true, that MAGA is the last dying breath of the Confederacy. And it could not be more true.
There are people in this hostile anti-black administration that would rather black Americans pick cotton than pick the president, than pick their congressperson, than pick a senator.
If Republicans decide that they want to cut black people out, this is a national issue.
I have to get a quick reaction from you on the element of the race card here.
Listen, Harris, I find that the racism on the left is absolutely disgusting. In Congress today, we have 4 black men who represent congressional districts, Republican districts, but yet they were denied entry into the Congressional Black Caucus because they weren't, I don't know, radical enough. They didn't subscribe to the radical ideology of racism. This is disgusting. This is what Americans are sick and tired of. We're sick and tired of the check the box. We are all Americans. And quite frankly, the gerrymandering that the Democrats have done for the better part of a half a century, it comes to an end today. Kudos to the White House and to every state that is undertaking a right approach in redistricting for fairness rather than race.
Just an overall thought about redistricting this time around. I mean, you've seen the fight that's going on in Virginia after they tried to cut everybody down to just one district who's Republican, assuming, again, now race played a role in that again. Just your thought on it.
Well, for reference, I'm right-handed, but that map that Virginia was trying to shove down everyone's throats, it looked like something I would draw with my left hand. It was snaking from one point of the state all across the state, similar to what Illinois does. It's because they are motivated by politics, not by keeping compact communities together, which is, if you look at Florida, we just added 4 new seats that was rectifying a census that was flawed back in 2020. Those are compact districts. That is what every state should aim for, is keeping communities and neighborhoods together instead of this racially motivated, politically motivated effort that we're seeing from the past. These states that are undertaking redistricting, they're rectifying a longstanding wrong.
Congresswoman, it is always good to have you. Thank you.
Pleasure.